So I have a special guest here today, someone who's been on a few videos, someone who many of you know her name. Some of you have seen her on a few videos because you've been on a few videos. We did an anniversary video. I remember that. We did a Dubai video. We did a few videos, but you were kind of like, people would see you for a few seconds and that actually like, you weren't actually like in the video.
Yeah,
right?
Sometimes it's my voice talking or something.
Right, something like that. Yeah. So why are we in two separate screens? Why are we in two separate screens?
Because I'm in good old Portland, Oregon, and Caleb is in Dubai.
Unfortunately, we have just a few more months and we're done with this crap.
Exactly.
Thank God. Yeah. We were going to do this video when you were here in Dubai like 2 weeks ago, but we were both idiots. I kept saying, we got to do that video. And you're like, yeah, we got to do that video. And then another week went by and another week went by because we were together for like 6 weeks. Or how long were we together total? It's like 6 weeks, right? 1 month in Portland and 2 months and 2 weeks in Dubai, right? Right. Yeah.
We just got so busy. We were trying to do so much and like so much all, since we were together.
Yeah.
We tried to do a bunch of stuff and we lost track of time, I think.
So like the last night you were in Dubai, I'm like, and the next day you were leaving, I'm like, oh shit. We were in bed. I'm like, oh God damn it. We need to do it. And you're like, what? You always get freaked out when I say, God damn it. I say, God damn it. I go, what? I said, I forgot the video. You're like, oh, yeah. So there's a reason that this video is on the Sovereign CEO YouTube channel. Normally, for the subject matter, it would be at the Alpha Male 2.0 channel. But there's a reason this video has to be at Sovereign CEO, and I can't tell you what that reason is. You'll know in about maybe a week after this video goes up. I can't announce it yet, but Miss Firefly is intimately involved in something that we're doing in when I record this video about 3 weeks and you watch the video in about a week. So you'll understand why this video is at the Sovereign CEO channel. Not that it really fucking matters. But anyway, we're going to go through, Miss Firefly and I, our entire relationship. So Pink Firefly is I don't know if you knew this, I think I told you this, is the longest consistent relationship that I've had since graduating to Alpha 2.0 status about 15 years ago. So you are the longest relationship. There was one other person and you beat her record like several years ago. You're the longest relationship. And so a few times we've had Pink Firefly like at the SMIC conferences where we do Q&A with her, and she's very, very popular, and the guys get all very excited, and they ask her lots of questions. So what we'll do is, for this video, first thing is what you can do in the comments, or you can send an email. You can put hashtag AskPF, and we will gather up all the questions, and the next time we do this in a few weeks, we will have an AMA for Miss Firefly. And it's weird because on the video, I don't know which way you'll be. So I'm like pointing all these different directions. Up. Yeah. I can't hear you. Say something.
I'm here.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. All right. You're just further away from your mic. All right. Yeah. So go ahead and do that in the comments as this video goes along. We're going to go through our entire relationship from the very beginning all the way to now, almost 8 years together. And it's interesting because Pink Firefly doesn't like some of these terms, but Pink Firefly is one of the few women who, in my experience, has gone through all the levels. So FB, MLTR, OLTR, and wife, she progressed through all the levels of the video game. And so we're going to go through the whole thing. And, but the next time we do this, go ahead and put your questions in at, what did I just say? AskPF, hashtag AskPF. You can email them in. So that would be at theonlyblackdragon@gmail.com, or you can put them here in YouTube or wherever else you're watching this on the other alt tech platforms. And we'll gather all the questions in about 2 weeks. And then we'll do another video where I just sit here and read off the questions and she answers questions. We might be surprised. You won't be surprised because you've done the SMIC things. You know how popular you are when guys can ask you questions. Guys get very excited to ask because they want to hear a woman's perspective on this stuff instead of my perspective. They hear my perspective all the fucking time. They want to hear like the other side of the story. They get very excited about this. So you have the opportunity to do that. So leave your questions in the comments. I guess if you wanted, Miss Firefly, you could answer the questions in the comments once this YouTube video goes up, but that's totally up to you. You don't have to, you don't want to. As usual, I don't tell her what to do. She can do that if she wants. Otherwise, we'll do it in one big video. Cool? Okay. And one more thing before we get started. The rules on this video are a little different. Obviously, I don't mind if you bash me or say bad things about me. But if you say anything negative about my little wifey poo on the comments of this video, the comments will be deleted. You are more than welcome to bash my wife or me on other websites, but not here at this video. So please be nice. Please be gentle. Miss Firefly never asked to be a public internet figure. Did you? Did you ever say, I want to be a public figure, be famous, want everyone to know me?
No, I did not.
You're actually the opposite.
Yeah, definitely the opposite.
Yeah. So it's funny is that I am an outgoing introvert. She is a shy extrovert, right?
Right.
So it's like, it's kind of weird. Let's see. What else do I want to say before? You want to say anything before I get going? Before I start into this?
No, just something you had just said. I went through all the levels just a minute ago.
Yes. Yes.
And to everyone that's listening, I didn't know I was going through the levels really.
Right.
So that's a side note. If I would have known that, I would have been like, what is wrong with this guy? So as a side note, you probably don't want to let them know that you're going to be going through levels.
As usual, keep your fucking mouth shut. Don't say, you are an MLTR because on page 46. No, don't do that because guys do that.
Wanted to remind everyone I did not know. So okay.
Eventually you knew something was up when you read the first chapter of my book. You remember that? A long time ago.
I literally couldn't even get through the book. I quit reading it.
You were like, I remember getting a phone. We're jumping ahead the story, but I remember getting a phone call from you or a voicemail saying, yeah, so I read the first chapter of your book. And you're very polite. It's like, yeah, so I have some questions. We should definitely discuss a few things. Yeah, I remember that. I mean, a billion years ago, but yeah, I remember that. That's when you first realized something was up, right? Or not? Or was it before that? Do you remember?
It was
like this guy's a little different.
I was on your website and reading all the stuff.
Did you get on the website before or after reading the book?
It was kind of around the same time.
Yeah, okay.
Kind of right around the same.
That's a fun story. So we'll talk about that too. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. So our first date, let's bring up the old spreadsheet. I'll give you the exact date.
Oh gosh, here he goes with the spreadsheet.
Here's the spreadsheet. There you are. Okay, Saturday, February 22nd, 2014. So how long ago is that? Let's do the math. 6, 7. It's 2022. So I'm dumb. For 6 years? That's not 6 years. 6, 7, 8 years. 8 years we've known each other.
Right.
Okay. But there was a year in there we had a little break. We'll talk about that. So let's start at the very beginning. You're online and you see my profile and you send me an opener. I did not send you an opener. You sent me one.
Right.
Right. And that's unusual. This is very rare. And this is actually part of the problem. So you send me an opener. So I get this opener and I see pictures of her. And my first thought is, okay, this is not real. Either this is a guy pretending to be a chick, or this is some woman in Russia who is lying and saying she lives in Portland and she actually lives in, Leningrad or some shit. They don't call it Leningrad anymore. But anyway, so, and then I looked at your age. And your age was, guess what her age was? Of all the ages it could be, her age was, what was your age? Do you remember?
33.
Yeah, 33.
Yeah.
So age 33, I went, oh God, on top of that, even if she's real, she's 33. So I waited, how many days did I wait? Like 4 days? Do you remember how many days?
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4 days.
3 or 4 days.
And I kind of wrote him off like, well, I guess he's not interested. So I kind of forgot about him after like a day or two.
Yeah. So it was like 3 or 4 days. And finally, I don't know what made me do this. I kind of went, all right. I finished like, she's exactly my type. Maybe if she is real, yeah, she's 33. She'll give me a bunch of shit if I try to have sex there on the second date, which she did. We'll get to that in a minute. And so I'm like, all right, fine. So I sent you a thing and then we started texting and I could tell, okay, this is a person who's pretty normal and probably real. Cool. So then we met on our first meet And where was our first meet?
Starbucks.
Say it louder. Use your microphone.
It was at Starbucks.
Starbucks. Where? What part of town? This is important. What part of town was the Starbucks in? Do you remember?
Downtown Portland.
But what street was it on? Do you remember?
I don't know what.
You don't remember what street it's on? You're supposed to remember these details. You're the girl.
No.
Fuck, man. Okay.
It's just downtown. I could drive there right now, but I don't know the street.
Okay, so you know the street. Okay, all right, got it. You're not spatial. Okay, fine. The street is Burnside Avenue. So way back in 2014, before Portland became a shithole, Burnside Avenue was the worst street in downtown Portland. It's where all the bums hung out. So this was further up from the bums. I didn't want to meet her right in the middle of the bums, but it was a little further up. But I did that on purpose because I was thinking, well, God, maybe she'll be a gold digger. So I got to make sure that I don't meet her at a fancy place or a fancy restaurant. I got to meet her at a normal Starbucks, not in the slums, but in like one of the worst streets in downtown Portland, which I did. And then, so you got there first.
Right, but he has this all planned out, but like I had never been to that Starbucks. I lived in Beaverton, which is not downtown, so I didn't know that it was a crappy Starbucks or anything. I would just.
So then my master plan failed.
Said, okay, sounds good.
Oh, really? You didn't know?
I had no idea.
Oh.
The viewers know I wasn't going to go like, well, that's a crappy Starbucks. Why are we going there? I had no idea. I was just like, okay, sure, Starbucks. Sounds good.
So sometimes the best laid plans of mice and men fail. All right. Well, cool.
I agree. I liked the idea because on first dates, I don't like to go to a restaurant because if you don't like the guy, I don't want to sit through drinks and then dinner and then they want dessert and then they want more drinks. I mean, this could go on for hours. And if you just want to get the hell out of there, then it makes for a really long night. So if you just do Starbucks, you can just grab a coffee and do a short little visit and then you can go. And then
but is that
liking the person, then you could just make another date, you know?
See how awesome she is? She's already awesome. So, but is that typical of women your age? Women your age do not have that opinion. They want to go for dinner on a first date. They don't want to get a coffee, right?
Yeah, generally speaking, they want like a nice dinner. But I did all that. I learned that I did all that. And it's a nightmare when you don't like the person. I don't care how nice the dinner is. The company is, if it's not great, then it's not a great dinner. So
yeah, and this was a phase where you were going on a bunch of first dates, right? Or not a bunch, but a few, right?
Yeah, and they were all so bad that I was like, okay, skip the dinner. Let's do quick first meets. Now.
Listen to what she said there. They were all bad. Men suck at this. All you guys think that you can't get laid or can't get a girlfriend or can't get anyone hot because all the Chads on Instagram are taking all the girls. The Chads on Instagram are idiots and arrogant and stupid, and they don't have very little game. They fuck all this up. So you had lots of bad first dates. We can do a whole video on that. We won't today, but
I could write a book on.
You could. Shitty first dates. Yeah, most women, a lot of women could. Yeah. Right. Okay. So per my rule set, you get there 5 minutes after she does. So you make sure she gets there first, and then you make your entrance. So you got there first, and then you tell a funny story about how I walked in.
And my rule is, he's telling you his rule for being 5 minutes late. My rule is to be 5 minutes early, so that I like to be there first. Was always my rule, so that I could get there, get the best seat, and kind of like he has to look for me. I don't want to go and be like, where the hell is he? And look like an idiot. So my rule is always be early and be the first one there.
I didn't know this about you. I've just learned something new about the woman I've been with for 8 years.
I was like, oh no, I'm running late. I got to be there early, because I don't want to have to find him.
Ooh, perfect. See how compatible we are? All right, cool. I didn't know that about you. I didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah, see, I learned these things as I went along.
I see. Okay. All right. And we could talk about this later if you want, but before this was going on first dates was a new experience for you, because you're you up until then, you still are. You're like a boyfriend girl. You just had long-term boyfriend relationships. You didn't date a lot until you hit your early 30s, right? You didn't go on a lot of dates. in your 20s.
Right.
You didn't date in your 20s, did you? Not really. You had boyfriends all the time.
Yeah, my boyfriends were like, just I'd be with them for a really long time.
Really long time. Right. So you were kind of new at this. Well, you weren't by the time you met me. But that all this stuff you were learning was stuff you were learning around this time, around 2014-ish, 2013-ish. Yeah. Okay. All right. Tell them the story that you told me about your first impression when I walked into the Starbucks. If you remember, I think it's funny. You don't remember?
Yeah, I remember.
All right.
He
Be honest, even if it's bad. Be honest. Tell me the whole thing.
I'll never forget it. Trust me. He opens the door and I see this guy come in and the wind is blowing and he has this black trench coat and the door opened and it blew behind him because the trench, is long. And
like Neo in the Matrix.
And I thought, oh my God, is that him? Is what I was thinking. Like, what is he wearing? Like a black trench coat. It just looked like not.
It was February. It was cold.
Trench coats, as you know, aren't warm. So it has nothing to do with.
They aren't?
Warm.
Yeah, they are.
No, they're like really lightweight. Trench coats are just like a lightweight nothing.
Not the one I wore.
So it looked like he was like flying. The wind blew up on the back of it. The trench coat just kind of blew up. And I was like, oh boy, Here we go.
I did that on purpose.
He walked up to my table and I thought, okay, this is him in his trench coat. So, yeah.
That's pretty funny. I remember you saying that the first time I was laughing. Yeah. So then we talked and I'll let you start on your first impression. Tell them what your impressions were, both good and bad and neutral, about me once we started talking, and I'll tell them my side of it.
Once he started talking, then I was like, oh, he's actually pretty nice. Like he was asking a lot of questions. He seemed very interested to know about me, my background, all of that kind of stuff, and just was interested. Like when I was done answering a question, he asked another one. He just seemed unlike any of the dates I had been on before. All they like to do is talk about themselves, and I couldn't get a word in. He barely talked about himself, honestly, and was just asking a ton of questions, and wanting to learn more about me. So I was like, oh, this guy's okay. This is going good, And so then when we were leaving, I thought, like I could do another date with him. Is what I thought.
Woo!
Yeah.
What have I told you? What have I told you guys 1,000 times? Oh, go ahead.
But when he left, I wasn't sure if he liked me because he's kind of like, I was like, I can't.
Also very important. I hope you guys are listening.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. I was like, it could go either way because he was kind of neutral. But I said, if he liked me, I would go on another date because he was so like friendly and talkative, but to ask questions, that kind of thing. So it went well. And so I forgave the trench coat part.
You didn't like my sexy black serial killer trench coat?
I was like, you need to get rid of that right away.
It was funny. I eventually did, but it took me fucking years to get rid of that thing. I kept that thing for years.
I kept telling him, throw this away.
It's like, no, it's my Blakey. No, and I like black jackets. Yeah. I've told you guys 1,000 times, she should do 80% of the talking on a first date. And you're learning now why. Not 100%, 80%. And the fact that she didn't know, maybe you did tell me this part, I don't remember this, but the fact she didn't know if I liked her and it was neutral. I wasn't mean. So I wasn't mean. I wasn't rude. I wasn't standoffish. I was nice and polite, but you didn't know because I was neutral. Is that accurate? Yeah. Okay.
You might have liked me because you were asking a lot of questions and you seemed interested, but I know how it is when you leave, you thought, well, I don't know if he'll call me again or whatever.
Right.
So, yeah.
Perfect. That's what you want, especially when a woman is really pretty, because there's lots of men who have tried to get her. So she's used to men going, oh, you're so pretty, you're so hot, let's go home and fuck it. Okay. So, what was I going to say about, so do you remember the sexual topic that I brought up toward the end of the date? About something you like to do?
No, honestly, I don't remember that.
You don't?
Part.
Okay.
It's so long ago.
It's long ago. Okay.
We talked conversation details. I'm more about like first impression, what you look like,
Right.
and that kind of thing, and how we ended it. But I don't know exactly words what we talked about.
So before I go to that, be super honest, even if it's totally negative. What was your impressions of how I looked? Because I was still overweight back then. So what was your first impressions of how I looked? And did your impression change as I talked? And be honest, even if it's negative. Because if it's negative, it's important. Be super honest. Go ahead. You know me, I don't care. You see, you're trying to be nice. Be honest. First impression, and then if that impression changed at the end of the meet. Because it probably did if the impression was negative. The first impression.
Yeah, I mean, I thought you were
sexy.
Looking. I thought you were good looking, but you weren't exactly my type, like right off the bat. Like,
are you being honest? You being 100% honest?
Yeah, when you were walking in, you weren't exactly my type. Like you were walking in, we didn't say anything. You just came and sat down before I was like, I don't know if he's really my type, But then once we spoke, I thought, wow, I'd go on another date because he's so, like, he seems genuine and he wants to know more about me. And that's honestly how I felt. So
this is how you overcome suboptimal physical appearance. As long as you look, and you tell me if you disagree with what I'm about to say. As long as you look presentable, you can't look like shit. But as long as you look presentable, you can overcome the fact that you're not a male 9 or a male 10 or a male 8. If you do everything else correctly. Do you agree or disagree?
Yes, I agree.
Okay. There you go. Right. Okay. Okay. So that was the first time we met. The second time we met was at Thirsty Lion in Beaverton. Okay. Okay. So she's laughing because she knows what I'm going to say. So I had a master plan. She knows this already. I had a master plan. My master plan was, this was a not fancy, but upscale restaurant / bar. And my master plan was we'd have a few drinks or what have you at the thing. And it was at night. And then I would get her out in the parking lot and get her into my car and get funky sexual in the car. And then when she got kind of warmed up, then bounce to her place. This was the second date now, because we were closer to your place than we were to my place. Actually, a lot closer. We were your side of town, actually. Right? Right. Because I was still in Vancouver at that time.
My house, yeah.
Say again.
We were right near my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes the first second of the things you say don't come across in your mic, just to let you know. So that's fine. You're okay. Right. So that was my master plan. Now, I set my expectations. She was 33. So I said, odds are good. She's going to say, oh, no, I'm a lady and I don't do that anymore. So I knew my odds were low, but that was my plan. We'll see how far we went. So do you remember when I tried to do that at the end of that meet? So I tried to get you in the car and I said, let's just sit and relax in my car for a little bit. And you said, do you remember what you said?
No.
You said no, but you remember how you said it or no? You were very polite.
No, I just remember, the only thing I remember about that is you were very aggressive. I was like, this guy is too much right now.
See, nice on the first date, aggressive on the second date. So you thought I was aggressive.
Yeah.
But not enough to not see me again. Or did you have second thoughts after the second time you saw me?
I was just like, this guy's a little aggressive right now, and I'm not like right. I wasn't
comfortable.
Yeah, I wasn't ready as much as you were. So I was like, no, not yet. I just didn't feel it yet. I didn't know you. I just felt like you're just being too aggressive. So I was like, no.
ASD over 33. Okay. And again, I wasn't surprised because of your age. You were over 33. Now you will say that if you were younger, you wouldn't have done it either because you were not a slutty hoe when you were young. You didn't do a lot of that stuff. A lot of your friends did. I know you'd say that, right? Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I have done it on the second date.
Of course you have.
But it wasn't like very often. It wasn't like that was like a normal occurrence as a rare event.
Right. Rare event. It's an exception.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Which again is normal.
I'm more of like a romantic kind of person. Guys are going to be rolling their eyes right about now, but like I like, not the aggressive thing on the second date, more like the romantic kind of slow start kind of thing, if that makes any sense. So
I'm romantic as fuck.
no.
She's always commenting about how romantic I am and how empathetic I am and how sweet I am.
Definitely not. He could use romantic pointers. So if anyone out there can help him, and
Please don't. I will delete your emails after throwing up.
Send them to me. And then
Send them to her. Right, send them to her. Pink Firefly do you have an email address at alpha20.com? Did we get you an email address? I think we did, didn't we? Are you Pink Firefly at alpha20.com or not?
Not that I know of.
Okay, don't send that to that email. It probably doesn't exist.
There is no email. Don't send them.
I thought there was though. Maybe I don't remember. All right. Okay, so I don't remember the timing on this. I could check the spreadsheet, but the next time we met, there's some disagreement. You say that the third time we met and we checked the first time was I want to say it was at my place. You're saying it was at your place. I think you're wrong. I think it was at my place. Or do you not remember? You don't remember that I'm right. It was at my place. Because I'll just say one word. I remember fireplace. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that too, but that wasn't the third date.
Yeah, it was.
I totally remember that, but that was definitely not the third date at all.
So you're saying the third date was at your apartment?
Pretty positive, yeah.
Okay. Well, you know my memory, and I didn't write that in my notes where it was.
Because
all right.
he likes the floor, so I remember. So
what did we do on the floor?
He likes to do stuff on the floor rather than like a mattress. So it's kind of a little more memorable.
Well, I'm setting expectations in case it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, so we started seeing each other, let's say casually. I won't use the word FB, but we started seeing it. Pink Firefly does not like the word FB to describe her. So I'll just say we were casual. And right.
Right.
Okay, however, you remember this, we would talk a lot.
Right.
So it's not like we would just hook up. You and I would sit on you're usually at your couch at your place. We met more often at your place, I think. I have that memory. And we would talk like a lot. We would sit and talk for quite a while.
I remember.
Yeah. And we got along really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was surprised. I'm like, oh, okay, this is someone I could talk to. Usually you talk to an MLTR, not necessarily an FB. FB, you talk for a few minutes and you go, but this was different. We were actually talking. A lot of it was because I think, a lot of reasons. You and I are very compatible in terms of how we talk, and we're very comfortable with each other. And you are not some young, dumb hoe. You're some like dumb 19-year-old. I could actually talk to you. And you have, contrary to what you might think based on how she looks, you have a lot of business experience. Matter of fact, let's cover that really quick. You have how many years experience in insurance? 13 years?
Gosh, like 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, 13 or 14 years.
13 or 14. And for many years, you worked 3 jobs?
Yes.
What were those 3 jobs really quick? This is when I met her. She had 3 fucking jobs. Go ahead. Insurance was your full-time job.
And then like on the weekends, I worked as a leasing consultant. I was like a property manager on the weekends. And then like a lot of the times I worked in restaurants as like hostesses or servers for extra money.
So that's when you were younger. When I met you, did you have 2 jobs or 2 or 3? You said,
when I met you, I only had 2. But
okay.
Before I met you, I always had 3.
Right.
So,
that's what I'm thinking of. Before you met me, when you were younger.
Like before I moved to Portland, and then when I moved to Portland, I had 3, and then I started cutting that off.
All right. Couldn't do
3
it.
jobs and have any kind of life.
Yeah. Well, I was attracted to the fact that you had your own apartment and you lived alone.
Right.
That's very rare for single women. Single women, as you guys know, usually live with their kids or boyfriend or sister or friends or roommates. It's not like it doesn't happen, but it's pretty rare for women to have their own place and they live totally alone and they support themselves, because you did that, which I thought was pretty impressive. Okay, cool. So we saw each other casually, but we liked each other and we would talk a lot for about a year. And then we kind of floated away. There was no event. Nothing actually happened. The primary reason was, and you and I have talked about this, we won't go into detail in our personal lives. I mean, I could go detail my personal life, but I want to respect your personal life. But let's just say that there were other people on both of our radars. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very different scenario for you than for me. But there was someone kind of on my radar and there was someone kind of on your radar. And so we weren't super motivated to keep hanging out, although there was nothing bad that happened. We didn't have an argument. We just kind of got busy with other things and other people, right? Accurate? Okay. One thing I do remember, which will be relevant later, is that I said during one of these conversations, I just casually mentioned, oh yeah, I'm dating 4 other women right now. And you went, oh, okay. And so that'll be relevant later. We'll circle back to that later. The point is, I said it. You didn't believe it
too.
Yeah, and you didn't believe me. You thought I was lying.
No, I laughed and thought in my head, like, right, this guy.
Yeah, right. Like, oh yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Right. I just laughed and said, okay, like whatever.
Hilarious. But it was true. It was she was one of 5 women back then. This is 2014. Yeah, I was pretty active in 2014. Okay, so what else do I want to say about that? I guess that's it. You want to say anything about that phase of our relationship before I move on?
No, I think we covered it.
Okay.
Well.
So then we didn't see each other for about a year or so. So 2015, we didn't really see each other. Busy with our stuff. But I remember you and I texted at least twice, like, hey, how's it going? And we should get a drink. And I remember that. It was only like twice throughout the year. But that was it. We never actually did anything. Right. And then in December, at the end of that year, I was still doing, I was doing a lot more consulting today than I am now. And so I would get old laptops from clients because I would ask when they dump a laptop, I say, okay, I'll take that laptop and recycle it. I would just take it, reformat it, and use it. So I'd collect all these old laptops. So I had this old laptop that was still pretty good for one of my clients. And it was sitting on my desk. And I don't know why this thought came to me. I have no idea. Maybe it was God or the universe or Satan. Who knows what it was? But this thought came into my head. I bet Pink Firefly would like a new laptop. And so now I have a reason to contact her and check up again. And wouldn't that be a fun December event? So I texted you and I said, hey, I think I just said, hey, you want a laptop? I think that's what I said. I don't remember. Yeah? And you're like, sure. But you told me later, you're like, you knew exactly why I was texting you. Like, yeah, I know what I said. Oh, I could drop it by.
And I was like, yeah, I'm sure you can.
Yeah. So she knows. So women know all this shit. It's not like they don't know. She knew what I was doing. So dropped by with the laptop and we immediately started to see each other again. But this time, and this is for me, I don't know how you felt. Within a week or 2 or 3, it was pretty quick. I immediately felt the dynamic was different. It was completely different.
I was gonna say it felt really different for me too.
Like really fast for me. Like within 2 weeks, it was like different. Like, oh, I forgot how cool she is. I forgot how much I like her. Another reason that it may have been different is that this is coincidence. I mean, this is maybe God or the universe or Allah or Vishnu or whatever. But my last MLTR, I had just stopped seeing around that time. I just had FBs. Usually I have MLTRs and FBs. And the last woman who was an MLTR just kind of faded away. And so I just had a bunch of FBs. So there was no one, I was kind of open emotionally. And I had already made the decision several years prior to keep my eyes open to settle down with somebody because I was ready. And I've talked about that in my books and blogs and things like that when I kind of made that decision. I made that list and all that stuff. So I was kind of open. My brain was open in a way that probably wasn't as open a year and a half or 2 years prior. I don't know why it was different. Can you explain why it was different for you or no?
I don't really know. It just seemed like, oh gosh, I forgot, like, that's like kind of like what you said. It's like, after I saw you again after a year, I was like, oh, he's fun to hang out with. Like, why did you not see kind of
Right.
like, oh. And then it's just like we would meet up for a drink or something. And I'm like, oh, that was fun. Like, why don't we do that more often? Like, I'm like, like.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Yeah, so I remember the first time when I started having these thoughts. So in terms of Alpha 2.0 parlance, we were now talking about upgrading from FB to MLTR. So you don't go on dates with FBs. You just don't. You can talk to FBs and you can like FBs, but you can't go on dates. So I remember the first time I asked you out on a real date, and you were like, kind of like, oh, you were kind of not surprised, but you're like, oh, that's different. He wants to go for a drink. I remember vaguely something about that. And I don't remember where we went. Did we go to Stanford's?
Yeah.
What was the first time? Is that right?
Right by my, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Stanford.
Is that the night? This is how I remember it, that you had a date with a cop who was really good looking. This is how I remember it. No?
That was a whole different day. No, that was the night.
So that wasn't the first time.
It was my grandmother's birthday at my mom's house. And you're like, let's go for a drink. I'm like, I'm stuck at my my grandma's birthday, but let's meet up as soon as I can get out of this house. And so you waited. I'm like, hey, you kept asking her, when do you want to meet? And I'm like, I think I get out of here now. Let's head my way, and then we can meet there. And so I ended up getting there first, but yeah, I was.
But wait, I remember you had a date with the cop at one of these events or one of these times, and you had a date scheduled with the cop, and you said, you know what, forget the cop. I'm going to hang out with Caleb or something like that. Am I remembering that wrong? That's what I have in my memory. No?
No, I went on the date with the cop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so did you go on a date with the cop the day before you went on a date with me? How close were those? No? So around the same time?
It probably in the same maybe month, but it wasn't like this.
Why didn't you continue to see the cop? I don't know.
He didn't like my blonde hair. He liked brunettes.
Oh, this is the brunette guy. Oh, that's the cop. Oh.
Even though I had blonde hair in my
on your profile pictures and shit, right?
So that's why I was like, what? I'm confused.
Well, did you meet him from Match? Did you meet him from the online dating, or did you meet him through friends?
Yeah. Online.
Yeah. He didn't fucking see your blonde. All your hair was blonde. You've been blonde not your whole life, but almost. Shit. Okay. What a dumbass. Okay. Got it. Well, his loss. Good. His loss, my gain. So, so we started seeing each other for reals, and we started going out. I remember when we went to that steak place, and I had to take out my fake teeth because I had Invisalign. So this is interesting. Around this exact same time we start dating, that's when I had my Invisalign. I had a gap in the front of my teeth. I had to fix it. So I did Invisalign for like 6 months. And Invisalign are these things like braces, but you can't see them. They're trays, but you have to take them out when you eat, and they look disgusting. So I would try to be all cool and on like a nice date. I go, hang on a second, and I'd rip all these disgusting things out and put them on my napkin. They'd sit there on the counter, and then we'd eat, and it was great. Even my dad, I told you my dad asked about that. My dad said, well, I'll tell you this, I'm jumping ahead because Alyssa, my daughter, knew about her anyway. But my dad's like, how do you go on dates when you have to take your teeth out? And they're like, just fucking do it. That's the way it goes. Right? Yeah. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember. And I was like, good thing I already like him. Because if this was like a first or second date is what I was literally thinking. I'd be like, no, that's gross.
Not sexy?
No.
Mm.
And by the way, what we were talking about with the police officer just came to my memory. I think what you are confused about is it was an FBI agent at one point I was seeing.
Ooh, that's even better.
Right. And
wait a minute, there was a cop and an FBI agent and me?
Yeah.
You player. Look at you. Oh my God.
So, yeah.
Wow. So wait a minute. Because I remember you when you're dating the cop, I remember you're saying, you're like, oh, can you wear your uniform on one of the dates?
But see, I have to admit, he was pretty good looking, but
I remember you saying that about him. Yeah, he was attractive. I remember you saying that.
Like, I wish he wore his uniform to our first date.
Yeah. Cops and firemen, right?
Yeah. I had dated a fireman right before I moved to Portland. He lived in Portland and I lived in Medford.
Did he look like Chris Hemsworth?
He's real tall.
Yeah, see, fucking fireman, man. Yeah. Fireman, man. You're a fireman. Work that shit because chicks did you. Oh my God.
Yeah, you need to your advantage.
Oh, totally. Cop, fireman.
You have to wear your uniform on the first date. I don't think they'll be too sad.
Oh my God, that'd be so funny. Yeah, fuck, I would. Yeah. You're not too sexy when you're a business consultant and you're an entrepreneur. I'm a business consultant. did that really turn you on when I said I was a business consultant
what
at
exactly
company?
does that entail?
Right.
Like, what do you really do?
Right. Okay, so let's see. I want to miss anything. So we start seeing each other and we really start to like each other. And so do you remember the moment I first told you the thing? So I was at your apartment. I think we were at, yeah. We were at, were we? Yeah, we were at your, why were we always at your apartment, not my place? Whereas your apartment, we weren't having sex, but we were on your bed. We had our clothes on, everything. We were cuddling or something, or talking. And I touched your face and I said, what did I say to you? You remember what I said?
I'm trying to think the exact words you said.
The exact words. You might get a little off, but I'll correct it. It's all right.
Yeah,
you don't remember.
It's like
you should.
I want to be with you, or I want to be with you.
No, I didn't say I want to be with you. Very important. I didn't say that. I said you should.
Go ahead and say it.
You remember? Oh, I'm so sad.
No, I remember. It's something like I want to be with you.
Be with you.
Be with me.
Yes. So I looked at her and I said, you should be with me.
Yeah, I missed the you should, but yeah.
You should. Not I want to be with you. That's beta. I said, you should be with me. I just said it like that. Just very casual, like, not like you should be with me, my love. That's not how I talk. I just said, I said, you should be with me. And I said it like looking right in her eyes, and I meant it. And that's the reason I said that is I had already made the decision to pursue, and again, she didn't know any of this, to pursue OLTR with her because I had followed the parameters. She's not, no woman is an OLTR, and she's been at your MLTR for at least 6 months with very little problems or no problems. And she did that. She checked all the boxes, and I really liked her, started getting big feelings for her, all that good stuff. Everything was in alignment. So that's when I said that. Had that not been the case, I would have never said anything like that. So that was kind of by design. And just fall out of my mouth. I planned it because I wanted to say it. I wanted to start things off. So I said that to you, and you were like, dumbstruck. You were like, you didn't respond. You didn't know what to say. I don't know if you were surprised or if you were embarrassed or.
It came out of nowhere. Like I wasn't even thinking you like
felt that way.
Like, but I wasn't sure you liked me that much. And so I was like, oh, I didn't know what to say because I wasn't expecting it. And it just came, like you just said it like out of nowhere.
Again, perfect. If she knows you're totally in love with her and you've got one-itis, attraction drops. If she's not sure, and then you say something like that and she's surprised, that's perfect. That's what you want. Again, especially if she's really pretty. Yeah. So we didn't really discuss anything, but I just said to you a few basic sentences like, yeah, you know what? You should be with me. You should be with me. We should be together. I just said it like that. Like, yeah, we should do this. Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
And then I remember you didn't give me a yes or no indication. You didn't say yes, you didn't say no, you just didn't say anything.
No, yeah, you just said, why don't you just give it some thought, you know?
Oh, I did? Okay. Did I say that?
I was like, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. So we left it at that. We didn't have a big talk or anything. We just kind of left it at that. What did you think after that, or did you give that any thought? What were you thinking at that time? Or do you remember?
I was just in shock, kind of like, oh, wow, okay. Like, I just didn't know, really, I was just in shock. Like, I guess I'm gonna have to think about it because I didn't know, like, you weren't on that level yet, you know? So I was like, oh, wow, like, you know, so I was definitely thinking about it ever since you had said it. After that day, I was like, trust me, I was thinking about it so much.
You were? Oh, I didn't know this. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I approached you with it again, like 2 weeks later. Again, I didn't push it, but I didn't get a yes or a no. So I went, okay, that's strange. Either she's very confused, or there's another guy in the picture, or there's something else going on in her personal life that I'm not aware of, something else going on. But I didn't know. So I broached it again like 2 weeks later, and if I remember right, same kind of thing. You didn't say yes, you didn't say no. You're like, oh, okay. And you didn't really say, yeah, let's do this, or no, I don't want to do this. It was kind of a limbo thing. and you had a specific reason. We won't say the reason unless you want to talk about it. Do you want to talk about the reason, or we can just say you had a personal reason?
It doesn't matter.
Let's not talk about it then. You had a personal reason. You had something that you had to take care of in your life. Let's put it that way, right? Okay. That's how I viewed it. But you didn't want to tell me. You were scared to tell me. So like the third time I broached it, like another 2 weeks later, again, I took this very slow. I think I said, well, you should be with me, but, and then you finally said, I said, you haven't given me an indication of whether or not you want to pursue this or not. And you finally said, I do want to be with you. I said, okay. She goes, well, and then she said, and then she explained something. You didn't go into detail about it because you were kind of embarrassed. So you just kind of explained something. I went, okay, got it. So we went ahead and started moving in that direction. But as we got more and more serious, a different scenario or a related scenario, we won't go to your personal life. But I basically told you, we can't make this 100% official until you do this certain thing. You remember all this? You know what I'm talking about, right?
My personal stuff that I need to take care of.
Right. And it wasn't really stuff. It was one thing that I wanted you to do before we made it like truly official, because I said, if we go make this truly official and you still have this thing it's going to get weird. It's going to cause problems. And I don't want to, I'm careful about this stuff. So I want to make sure everything was good. And it took you a while. I remember it took you like many weeks. And I was starting to wonder if you were going to do it. And so I remember in the summertime, that's what I remember, June, July, somewhere around when we went to the concert.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the concert? You talk about the concert before I go to the next thing. Because that was kind of a game changer for you, right? When we went to that concert? Okay, go ahead. You tell them.
Because I was just like, I got to resolve stuff in my life or whatever. And just like, I just had a lot going on. But
you did.
We went to this concert, went to Chicago, if you guys want to know. And
she bitches that I'm 80s, and she wanted to go see Chicago. And she bitches that I'm 80s.
My dad used to listen to that all the time, so I grew up with it. So I know all the songs. So it was coming to Portland. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to go, so live concert. So yeah, so when I called him, texted or whatever I did, reached out to him and said, hey, do you like Chicago? And he's like, kind of like, why? And I was like, well, I really want to go to this concert. And he's probably like,
I'm like, are they like Ozzy? No, just kidding.
And I said, I don't know how I said it, but I just like, I would love to go. Would you be interested in going? You're like, yeah, just a minute. Hold on for just a minute. I'll go ahead and get the tickets right now. And I was like, what? Like, because, my last boyfriends or whatever in the past, they would argue with me about, oh, well, who's going to buy the tickets? I don't want to buy the tickets. And then it would just be like this big event about like who's going to buy the tickets and when they're going to buy the tickets. And then we would miss the concert because nothing ever happened.
Oh my God.
So I was like, I didn't even want to go to concerts at that point. I was like, I'm done. So when he said, oh yeah, let me get the tickets real quick. Hold on, bear with me. I'm going to pay for them right now. And I was like, he got online and did it. I was like, what? You already got the tickets? Like, I literally was just thinking that like he might say yes or he wanted to think about it. I wasn't thinking he was just gonna go get the tickets right away. Literally. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
You never had a boyfriend or an ex behave that way or that quickly without.
So I was like, oh, this is how it should be. It shouldn't really be an argument over this shouldn't be that hard. I was like, it could be this easy. What? Like
yeah.
So that was a game changer right there. I was like, okay, this is awesome.
Well, just that, not that was the game changer, it was more. So then we went to the concert and you tell them.
Like, you're supposed to bring your own chairs. It's an outdoor concert and you bring your own chairs. Well, I didn't know that so I'd never been to that specific place where they had that concert, that your chair could only be so high. It's one of those chairs where you pretty much are on the ground almost, like lawn chairs. And I didn't know that I got like regular lawn chairs, not the really, really low ones. And so we got there and they're like, you guys can't have these chairs. And then it's like, well, then where are we going to sit? Because you're required to bring your own chairs. So I was like, I looked at Caleb like, now what? because they measured our chairs. They literally measured our chairs.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. Yeah.
Like, well, now what? Because I specifically went and got them, for the concert and whatnot. So then Caleb's like, I know. And he had this bright idea. We're like in this long line or whatever, waiting for the concert. And he's like, I'm going to go find us some chairs. We are not going to sit on the ground or, dirt or whatever. I'm going to find us chairs. And I was just like, so he left. And I thought, oh my gosh, this guy's amazing. Because like my ex would just be like complaining to everybody and would just be complaining to me how we can't use the chairs and how we were going to have a crappy time. We'd be sitting in the dirt and then it would have been a whole miserable event, like the whole concert would have just been kind of ruined by. Instead, he's like, I'm going to go get chairs. We are going to have a great time and we're going to fix this problem right now. Like, it just seemed like, I know it sounds kind of silly, but like, I wasn't used to that. Like, wow, he's trying to make this better. And so we can have a good time.
And just like she said earlier, and just like you said earlier, I didn't even know that was so impressive to you. I had no idea. Because you called your mom the next day, like, oh my God, this guy went and got chairs or something, right?
Like, Mom, guess what? He went and got chairs. Like, he went out of his way to go and search and like ask around and like find chairs. And we're like, and my mom's like, really? Like, she was excited because she's so used to like the guys I date that are like nightmares, So she's like,
your mom is a big fan of your ex-boyfriends. Yes.
Yeah, no. So
she told me about that. Yeah. Yeah.
So she, but it was just funny. I'm like calling him, oh my gosh, you got chairs. I know it's so weird, but like, it's the little things because you gotta remember the whole concert would have been a nightmare had I'd been with somebody else, my ex, and we had no chair. It would have been not a fun experience.
Yeah.
And so then that's when I was like, okay, this guy's a keeper.
That's when you kind of mentally crossed a line, right?
Yeah.
Like you do.
We took a selfie of the both of us. And in fact, I have it right.
I remember it. Yeah.
At the concert. And I thought this picture is just like, I'll remember this forever. I mean, that was the turning point over a chair.
See, and again, I had no idea. I didn't know till months later that was the turning point. Details matter. And again, I got to repeat, this is not for romantic, but would I have done those things if she was an FB? No, we wouldn't have gone to the concert. Would I have done those things if she was an MLTR? Maybe not. But OLTR or someone we were in the OLTR or moving very quickly to OLTR candidate, as I used to call it. Then yeah. And because details matter. Right. And again, the concert wasn't expensive. It was like, I don't know how much it was. $40 a person. It's not like it was $500 a person. So I don't give a shit. And going to get chairs is no big fucking thing. So what? It's not a big deal. So anyway,
whoever is listening, like if you're dating someone, women remember a lot of times the little details.
True.
So I'm not going to do that because she won't notice or it doesn't matter. But think again, because look, after all these years, that's the one thing that like I think brought us together was the chairs. So I mean, just maybe think about that, for the future if you're dating.
Yeah, and that was the summer. So that's about when when all these things we're about to talk about happened. So that was the summer, right? That was literally summer. It was like June. It was like early summer, I think. And then you were kind of leaning on me a little bit to make it official. And I kind of said, well, did you fix the problem? You're like, well, I'm going to. And I'm starting thinking like, she's never going to do this. She's not going to do it for X, Y, and for various reasons. And then I remember I got a text from you out of the blue one day saying, I did it. I went, oh. I said, really? You said, yes, I did it. I said, did you actually? Yes, I did it. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And I was kind of surprised. I was expecting it to take longer. And again, I wasn't in a rush because I'm never in a rush for these things, as you know, and as we'll talk about in a few minutes. I have no problem delaying the serious shit. I want to be sure. So, go ahead.
Maybe we should tell them because it's kind of awkward. They're going to be like, what is the stupid thing that they're talking about?
You want to tell them? You don't have to if you don't want to. It was a long time ago now. Maybe it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, I guess it was.
Go ahead. You tell them.
It's kind of hard to explain. So I was with somebody for like 10 years, a boyfriend for 10 years. And we broke up, and I moved into my own apartment and all that kind of stuff. And then we never like got back together. We weren't like boyfriend, girlfriend, like, oh, let's get back together and figure it out. It never got to that, but we would still, hang out with the dogs, because they were used to be kind of like ours, hang out with the dogs, or he'd come over, watch movies or whatever. You know what I mean? We stayed in each other's lives, not as like girlfriend, boyfriend, but not as like, it was kind of like a thing.
But there was still stuff going on, and he still had a lot of feelings for you.
Yeah, like,
right.
He just wanted me to be at his beck and call. He didn't want me to date anyone. He just wanted me to be available whenever. And so like, it kind of was just this thing, it wasn't like we were together, but it wasn't like finished, like we're never not talking ever again.
And you didn't want to hurt his feelings. Right. You were really scared that you would destroy him and ruin his life. And right? I remember that.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And I told you, and you didn't believe me, but I was right. Whatever you do, he won't stop calling you. He won't stop texting you. You'll still be able to maintain a friendship, which is fine. And I did say to her, you shouldn't care if you're going to be with me, but I'm outcome independent. I don't care. I'm not threatened by other men. So, but anyway, all right. So the thing was to make it more official, a more official cutoff. Right. Because I could date you as an MLTR, and you can do whatever you want. MLTR women can do whatever they want, but OLTR is emotionally exclusive. So if you've got a man on the woman's side, if there's a man in her life who still has feelings for her and it's kind of in limbo, or if you're still dating other women, dating as MLTRs, then you shouldn't be at an OLTR. You should just have MLTRs. You should just date. But OLTR is emotionally, it's sexually open, but emotionally exclusive. So that goes for me, and it went for her. So that's why. And I kind of explained that to her, but I use OLTR, although this is when I was starting to use the terminology, because you had already read the first chapter of my book. You found my blog. We'll talk about that in a minute. You found my blog. Your mom found my blog, and her head exploded. We'll talk about that in a second, because I've talked about that once or twice before. This is all around that same time. So cool. So you did it. And then I said, great. That was the last barrier for me. So then I told you, I said, we need to have a talk. We need to sit down and have a talk and go through how we're going to do this. This is like I don't remember the words I used to prepare you for this talk. This is the OLTR talk, where you go through and you give the woman all the negatives of being with you long-term if you settle down together. So if you settle down with me, you're going to have this problem, this problem, this problem, this problem, give her all the problems. That way, if she has a problem with it, you cut off the relationship then and there, instead of you move in together or you get married or you have kids, and then she finds out, and then you have a nuclear explosion and it's too late. So I don't remember the words I used to prep you, but I said, okay, we need to sit down and have a talk. Before we make this 100% official, we need to have a talk. Remember that? You were terrified.
Yeah.
I don't know. What were you thinking I was going to say to you? You were you were really scared when I told you this. Do you remember what you were worried about? I never asked you this before.
Like, oh, we need to have a talk, so that we can figure out, like, I have some things I already have kind of planned in my life, and I want to make sure we.
Oh, I did say that. Okay.
I was like, okay.
Okay. So we had the talk. We sat on the couch, and I gave you 5 things. I think you remember most of the 5, or most of the 5. The first one was the non-monogamy thing. And this is the beauty of Pig Firefly. When I told her that.
I already knew that part, though.
Right. You already knew that part, because we've been doing that forever. Right. So when I said that, this is exactly what she said. I said, I'm going to be, sexual with other women, or I'm never going to change my mind. I won't date other women, but okay. I went through the whole thing. And she goes, okay, next. I went, yeah, perfect. That's why this is a slow process. You wean her into the system so she's used to it. She doesn't like it, but she's used to it. Then I said, this was the one you didn't like. I work hard. I work all day. I work all night. I'm a very motivated guy on a mission. My businesses are very important to me. My mission is very important to me. So if you need a guy who clocks out at 5 p.m. and sits on the couch and watches TV all night, I'm not that guy. So if you need to be with that kind of guy, you need to be with someone else, and I'm not that guy. I'll never be that guy. I work. And so I don't remember what you said, but I said, okay, you said something like, well, that's a problem. We'd have to figure out something. I don't remember exactly what you said, but I remember that was the one thing of the 5 you really didn't like. It wasn't the other woman stuff. It was the working thing, spending time together thing, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
My love language is spending time together. So like.
Right. So her love language, her number one love language is time. Mine is physical touch, but my number two is time. So that's how we're compatible. But she's very, very big on time. That's a big, big, big thing for Miss Firefly. Yes. So you heard that and you went, oh, that might be a problem. What was the other ones? I said I have grown children and they're grown up, but sometimes with millennials and Gen Z, they fucking move back because they have financial problems. So you have to be aware that might happen. I don't think it'll happen, but it might. I said, oh, I'm a public figure. So at some point, people will see you, and 2 or 3% of any audience are assholes. They're going to say mean things about you. You got to be cool with that because that's just part of being a public figure. What else? What?
Didn't want any more kids.
Thank you. Didn't want more kids, right? What did you think when I said that? We already kind of discussed that, though.
Yeah, I was fine with that. And then you also said I will be moving out of the country.
Moving out of the country, right. I said I had 2025, because back then it was 2025. This is before the collapse of America really got fast, and I upped it to 2021. But I said by 2025, I am moving out of the country with or without you. So if you want to marry a guy or settle down with a guy or whatever terminology I used, who just stays in the United States for the rest of his life, that's not me. I'm out of here. And I said, I don't even know where I'm going. Maybe Buenos Aires. That's kind of where I was looking earlier, or way back then. Anyway, yeah, I said that too. What else did I say that sticks out to you? Did I cover it all?
Got it.
What?
Yeah, I think you got it all.
I sandwiched it. I said you take the OLTR, you sandwich it with Disney, negative, then Disney. So I did tell you that I love you, and I'd already told you I love you. We'll talk about it in a second. I skipped over that part. That I want to be with you, and I want to be with you the rest of my life, and I don't want to date women anymore, which is all true. I don't. Non-monogamy is different, but that's not dating. Yeah, I went through all that stuff twice. I started the talk that way. I gave her the 5 negatives, and I ended it that way. And I said very clearly, if any of these are deal breakers, I completely understand. Yeah, I was cool about it.
Okay. And then I said okay, but then I had a deal breaker. I said
right.
I'm looking to get married. So, yeah,
right,
which we talked about before, so it wasn't
right.
like a surprise,
right?
So, because I said I was in a 10-year relationship, we weren't married, and I'm not doing the 10-year plan again. Is what I said. So right. That was my deal breaker. If I'm going to accept all yours, then I have like one thing.
Right. So I want to talk about the first time I said I love you, because that's a pivotal moment. That's right before this. We were at my place. I remember you had your dog on your lap. This is my memory. We were at my dining room table. You had your dog on your lap, or a dog. Did I have Alyssa's dog on your lap? You had a dog on your lap. Something was on your lap.
It's probably my dog.
Okay, probably your dog. Okay. And I said, I love you. And her reaction, you know what you said? I know exactly what you said. You said,
I don't.
You said, you do? You said it like that. You were totally shocked. I said, yeah. And I said it again, and then you said, you do? You said it twice. I said, yeah. I wouldn't say if it was true. Crazy dork. Right. So again, that's good. That's the reaction you want. You want her to be surprised that you love her. Right. I remember that. That was cute. I don't know if you remember that moment, but that's what I remember from that moment, is that you were like, just like when I said you should be with me, you're like, what? Yeah.
Right.
So my eye. Let's see. What's next. Oh, okay. So then the next phase of the operation was that we had to meet each other's parents. So you meeting my parents was pretty simple. We met and they both loved you. This is before my parents got divorced. So my parents got divorced when I was 47 years old, when they were in their 70s. Story for another time. I mentioned on my blogs. So the 4 of us got together, and they loved you, and they're very excited that their son Caleb was finally settling down so you can stop having sex with all these girls. So they were very happy, A, that I was settling down, and B, that you were like a normal person. I think they were worried that you were going to be like some 19-year-old or something, and you weren't. So they were very happy, and they were very impressed with you. I don't know. I told you this. They both liked you a lot. You have a weird look on your face. What are you thinking?
No, I'm just remembering it. I remember everything.
You were kind of nervous, but you were okay once we started talking to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then this is the order in which this happened. I met your mom and her husband. We had dinner at your mom's house.
Yeah.
And no one had seen any blogs yet. Your mom hadn't seen that stuff yet. So she had no idea. So we had dinner, we left, and then when we on the way home, you got a text from your mom saying, "We like him!" exclamation point.
Yeah.
And you're like, look, they like you, look, they like you. You're all excited. I remember that.
I was like, "My mom likes you. It's a good sign."
Yeah. Okay. You were kind of nervous about that. So so that was all good. Then your sister found my blog, and then your sister told your mom. I think that was how that happened, right? Is that right? Your mom didn't find it. Your sister found it.
So my mom found it and sent it to my sister.
Oh. How did your mom find my blog? Was she Googling around for me? Do you remember how she did that?
Yeah, I think she must have been trying to find stuff about you.
Oh, digging up dirt on the man that her daughter is dating. Okay. So your mom got pissed, got very angry about especially about soft necks. She was really pissed about soft necks. She was pissed off about that. Well, you didn't like that either. You didn't like soft necks either. Right.
No.
And she was pissed about a few things. I remember she was mad about soft necks and a few other things. And it was this is the Black Dragon blog. This is before really made the conversion to the Alpha Male 2.0 was the brand, but the Black Dragon blog was still branded as Black Dragon. So it's still primarily dating and stuff. And so she was a little upset. And so I've already told this story a few times. I'm going to run through this really fast. I texted your mom and I said, you can interrupt whenever you want. If you have more information, I don't know about this. I texted your mom and I said, let's go have coffee. Now, this was later. This was, months later after all this, after I'd met her. Okay. This is down the road. And I said, let's go have coffee. She goes, okay. Your mom is a very strong, dominant, corporate, ass-kicking, masculine woman.
Non-empathetic.
Not empathetic?
She's not empathetic.
Okay. Very similar to me. Right. So that's why her and I got along well once we started talking. So she agreed, and we met at a Starbucks, and her body language is like this. And she goes, so why am I here today? And so I won't go into detail. I've told the story before. I laid out the entire system of how this would work and how much I loved you and how much I wanted to be with you and how I respected you. And she said, now, one of the first questions out of her mouth was, well, can she be with other men too? And I said, if that's something she really wants, yes. And immediately your mom's body language just kind of went, oh, okay, because that's fair. It's hard to argue with that. So she asked me a few more questions. I answered them. And she made a comment about that stupid blog. And I said, well, that stupid blog, this is many years ago now. Today, it makes a lot more. But back then, I said, that stupid blog, I forget the number. I won't say her name. I said, Pink Firefly's mom, that stupid blog makes $9,000 a month. That'll help take care of your daughter. And today, it makes a lot more. But that's what I was making back then, just that stupid blog, just that blog by itself. And she was kind of like, oh. So then in the conversation, I said, I want to marry Pink Firefly. I want to marry her. And I'm getting ready to ask her to marry me. And then your mom got so fucking excited and she was so happy. So within 90 minutes, she went from this to your mom was like bouncing up and down out of the Starbucks. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, how are you going to do it? Did you get her a ring? How are you going to ask her? No, don't tell me. I don't want to know. No, I can't stand it. Tell me how you're going to do it. And so she was so pumped about this. Anyway, this is how you turn people around when you are confident and you don't hide what you're doing. It's very simple. Now, does your mom love my Black Dragon Alpha Male 2.0 stuff? No. Okay. Does it matter? Now, does it matter?
She doesn't really talk about it very much now.
So it doesn't matter. In my world, that means it doesn't matter. Right? So that was that. So that was fine. And then let's see. So we put a date on the calendar to move in together. And I remember I I had to delay the date twice, and you were upset because I got nervous about, I don't remember what the specific scenario was, but I remember I had to delay it twice, and you were pissed off that I had to delay the move-in date.
Okay.
You don't remember that?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had to delay it twice.
Okay.
So then we moved in, and then we set the wedding date. And let's see, then what? I'm going through a lot of stuff. Do you have any comments as I'm going through all this shit?
No.
Okay. Let's see. So we should talk about the non-monogamy thing really fast because that's what we get a lot of questions about. Way back before all this, you were upset around this is when we were dating. You were upset about it a little bit. I said, I told you 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I was dating 4 other women. And you're like, and you said, I thought you were lying. Right. You want to say some thoughts on that when you first found out or down the road, or give me some thoughts about that? Because I know you're going to get questions about this.
I'm not sure what to say.
What were your initial thoughts about it when I really started talking about it? And be honest.
Well, at first I didn't believe him, as you know, as he said. I was like, okay, and I just laughed it off because I literally was just like, this guy is just trying to show off. Okay, whatever.
Which is also true, but it was true.
and then I was like, okay, guess he is. So then I was like, okay, well, whatever, because we're not serious. We're not, So I was like,
right,
okay,
back then.
kind of like whatever, I guess. And then
Here's my question. When we were getting serious, did you believe me when I said the intention was to get to, when we got married, settle down together, that it would not be a dating thing, it would just be a sexual thing? Did you believe me when I said that, or did you think I wanted to date other women?
No, I believed you.
Okay.
It's that, like, over the years, like I've grown to love you more.
Right.
Sounds kind of like a cheesy love song or whatever, but it's true. And so it's a little, to be honest, it's actually harder now than it was at the beginning.
Well, I would also add in there that we've been apart off and on for an entire fucking year too. That's a factor too. Being apart makes it harder, right?
Right.
Yeah, right. But you and I discussed scenarios that are going to be less bad going forward. We'll talk about that some other time. Maybe.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. So we move in together in December of 2017, 2018. I forget. I know we've been living together now for 4 years.
2018. No, that's when we got married. So we were already, it was like 2017.
So 17 then, September 17, yeah. Like December 30th. We've been living together for 4 years. We just passed the 4-year mark for living together. We already have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This August will be our 4-year wedding anniversary. So yeah.
Right? Is that right? Yes. Yeah. Yes. Correct. Okay. Right. So her and I have a different definition for what our anniversary is, our married anniversary. In my world, as I've talked about many times, you're married as soon as you move in with each other because you're living the lifestyle of a married person. Her thing is when you have the wedding and you sign the documents and you eat the cake and you go that's when you're married. So we have 2 different dates. So in her mind, we've been married for 3.5 years. In my mind, we've been married for 4 years.
Right.
So we've been together for 7 going on 8, almost 8 years, I think. And married to me 4 years. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Did you like our wedding? Your wedding was very expensive, although you paid for most of it.
Exactly. It was very pretty. It was just very kind of like romantic, just.
There were a lot of things I didn't want to do, so you paid for them yourself because I kicked in some, my parents kicked in some, your mom kicked in some, and you kicked in a lot. Matter of fact, I didn't know until after the wedding how much you had kicked in. I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. That was scary. Yeah, okay. All right. Let's see. And then what's notable since we've been married? What's notable? We had the first year we were living together. We had some stumbling blocks, which is what I expected.
Yeah, they say the first year is actually the hardest because you're getting to learn.
Well, do you agree with that? I think you said that about us. The first year was the hardest, you said. Do you agree?
It was definitely the hard. I thought it would be the easiest. It's literally,
Oh, yeah, no.
It's no joke. It is definitely the hardest.
And I would say the number one reason for that is because you and I are opposites when it comes to communication styles.
Yeah, we just had to learn how to communicate better. We were still learning that,
I would say that was our only issue, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I don't think we've ever had any other major issues. Is that right? Let's be super honest, everybody. We've never had any major big issues other than the communication thing, right? Have we had any other big issues?
No, because the communication was pretty bad for a while. So that was a big issue, but it was,
Bad. Okay. All right. Yeah. I don't think we have. Yeah.
Know how to say things.
And we're still working on it to this day, right? We're a lot better than we were. We're a lot better than we were. Yeah. Right. You and me both. You've actually changed a lot more than I have. I've been slower to change. You agree? I think I've been a little slower. You've been better at changing. Yeah. I'm trying to think what is noteworthy other than the last year has been weird because we've been apart because of a dog and various other factors.
Well, other things too, though. It wasn't just that, though. Remember?
No, you're right. That's the only reason. You're right. A lot of weird stuff happened because of COVID, and yeah, that's true. Right. This is like the worst time to move out of the country. Although I did it because I couldn't stand it. So, but that ends in April or May, right? 4 or 5 months from now.
4 to
5. Is she saying it might take 6?
No, probably.
Okay, so 4 to 5 months from now. Yeah. January, February, March, April, May. April, I was right. So April and May. Yeah. We're together again, full time again. Thank God. This has been hard for both of us. Celebrating. Yeah, this has been hard for us. It kind of sucks to live a long distance, but we've been seeing each other a lot. We fly, or I fly, or she flies, and we see each other for several weeks at a time, every few weeks. We just saw each other for 6 weeks, and I'm coming back in February. Right. Yeah, right. Cool. For a long time, for like 2 months.
Yeah.
2 months in the U.S. Okay. But I'm married to an American, so you know that works. People think you're Russian all the time, but you're American.
I know.
Every time I show pictures of you, they're like, "Oh, is she Russian?" No, she's American. Yeah. What else is noteworthy from the time we've been married? I think it's been pretty good. I can't think of any momentous events that aren't like get really personal into the sexual realm, which we could talk to in another video if you want to be really brave. We won't talk about this time, but we've had some adventures.
Right.
But I mean, does anything shine out to you as noteworthy? I guess if you can't think of any major problems or noteworthy events, it's probably a good thing. Because I can't think of anything noteworthy. We're really good together. We're very happy.
Yeah,
this is the happiest relationship that I've ever had in my life, and I've had a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same here.
Okay. Yeah. This is the longest relationship I've had. Well, not including my first marriage. This is the longest post Alpha Male 2.0 relationship I've ever had. 7, 8 years ish. This is the longest one I've had. Even if you count that year off, it's still the longest.
Right.
Yeah. And so, well, okay. What else? I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it.
So, once again, if you have questions for her, in the comments or theonlyblackdragon@gmail.com, put the hashtag in the title or in front of the comment, hashtag AskPF. We will gather them up over the next, 2 weeks, and then we'll go through them. Now, as usual, same kind of rules apply when I do these things. You can ask personal questions, but she's under no obligation to answer personal fucking questions. If you ask any trolling questions that are questions that are insults in the form of a question, we will delete them. And she's also not required to answer any of your questions. I can ask her a question on the next video, and she can say, I'd rather not answer that. But you can tell she's pretty forthcoming about stuff. You're like me that way. I'm just kind of surprised. You're pretty open and honest to the public about shit. Matter of fact, I can't think of something you haven't wanted to tell people yet, even in the SMIC stuff you've been doing. Yeah.
I've been pretty open, for the most part.
Yeah, you are, yeah. I was surprised. I thought originally, you'd be like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about that. You're pretty cool with it. Yeah. So we'll do that video in about 2 weeks. Give us about 2 weeks. And that'll be, hopefully, it'll be when her and I are together again. So we don't do this goddamn split screen. We just sit on a couch and do it casually. We have a glass of wine and your dog is on your lap and shit like that. Yeah. And then there's something else coming shortly where she will be intimately involved, but I can't talk about it. It is literally the biggest thing we've done in this particular country. It's getting late. But I can't talk about it yet, but it's coming. But do you have any parting words for the audience? This video is going to get trafficked pretty well as compared to other videos. Watch. Anytime your picture is on the thumbnail, we get a lot of fucking clicks. So yeah.
Very long video. So I'm just hoping that
long videos do well. How long have we been talking?
There's some information in there that people will find useful.
Cool. All right. Thank you, darling. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks for the Zoom logistics. I know this is kind of weird to talk to your husband this way.
That's a little different.
Next time we do this, hopefully I will be at your apartment. We can do it on your couch. We can do other things on your couch too, but we can be professional too. Cool. All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys.
See you soon. Bye.